For many years, the idea of reincarnation has raised questions. Is it real, or just a legend? One man sought to uncover the truth. His name was Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist and professor at the University of Virginia School of Medicine. And his discoveries? They shocked the world. Dr. Ian Stevenson investigated more than 2,500 cases of reincarnation in children. One of the most mysterious cases, a young girl named Purnima Ekanayake. Born in 1990, she made an extraordinary claim, one that would leave experts baffled. She insisted that she had lived before, not just anywhere, but as an incense maker in Sri Lanka. And the details? They were uncanny. From the time she could speak, Purnima described memories of her past life. How she was killed, run over by a large vehicle while riding her bicycle to the market. And on her chest, a striking birthmark, a scar from the past. Her family, teachers in Bakamuna, were stunned. How could she know these intimate details about a life she never lived? She described the types of incense she made, Ambiga in Gatapicha, the factory near a brick factory and a pond, the 2 vans and a car her family owned. And then, the most unbelievable detail of all, she named her past family members, her mother's name, her marital status, her education. Could this really be just a coincidence? Icelandic psychologist Erlendur Haraldsson and Dr. Ian Stevenson took on the challenge. They traveled to the Kelenaya area, investigating every lead. That's when they found him. A man named Wijasiri, someone who had worked with Jinadasa Pereira. And who was Jinadasa Pereira, you may ask? The very man Purnima claimed to have been in her past life. And here's the eerie part. Jinadasa died in 1985, 2 years before Purnima was even born. And how did he die? Exactly the way she described. Run over by a bus while riding his bicycle to the market. Investigators were speechless. They verified her claims one by one. 14 out of 20 details were a perfect match. And then, there was the birthmark. A cluster of marks on Purnima's chest, perfectly aligning with the injuries Jinadasa sustained. A scientifically documented phenomenon seen in many cases of past life memories in children. But there was one more chilling revelation. Purnima remembered what happened after she died. She described it in haunting detail. She floated in semi-darkness. She watched people mourning her. And then, she moved toward a light. Dr. Ian Stevenson was a man on a mission. He dedicated his life to answering one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Is reincarnation real? And if so, how could it be proven? But instead of studying adults, he focused on children. And the reasons? They were fascinating. 5 reasons why Dr. Stevenson studied children instead of adults. 1. Memory fades over time. Dr. Stevenson discovered that past life memories were strongest in early childhood. But as children grew older, these memories disappeared. By the time they reached adolescence, the memories were gone. This is why young children's memories were more reliable. 2. Less influence from external factors. Children are pure. They are less likely to be influenced by movies, books, or stories. But adults, they have been shaped by culture and experiences. Could they mistake learned information for past life memories? Stevenson didn't want to take that chance. 3. Cognitive development. As children grow, something happens. Their brains change. They begin to focus on their current life. their identity, and the memories of the past. They start to fade. That's why Stevenson knew he had to study young children before the memories were lost forever. 4. Adult studies are less reliable. Other researchers tried to study adults using hypnosis, but Dr. Stevenson, he didn't trust it. Hypnosis could lead to false memories, suggestion, influence, imagination. But when it comes to a child doesn't need hypnosis to remember their past life. The memories come spontaneously. 5. Spontaneous recall in children. This was the most important discovery of all. Between the ages of 2 and 5, children remember past lives with uncanny detail. And the most shocking part, no one prompted them. No one asked them. The memories just appeared. This was the core of his research. But how did Dr. Stevenson prove his findings? He used scientific methods to separate fact from fiction. Here's how. The methods Dr. Stevenson used to study reincarnation. Case studies. He didn't just hear stories. He documented them. He conducted thousands of detailed interviews with children, their families, and, when possible, the families of the deceased individuals. And what he found? It was astonishing. Memory verification. How could he be sure these weren't just childhood fantasies? He cross-checked their statements with historical records, family testimonies, newspaper reports, official documents. Well, the results. Time and time again, the memories matched real events, birthmarks and physical evidence. This is where his research took a chilling turn. Dr. Stevenson discovered that many children who remembered past lives also had unusual birthmarks. Birthmarks that seemed to match the injuries or death wounds from their previous life. And when he checked medical records of the deceased, the locations of the wounds aligned perfectly. Coincidence or proof? Cross-cultural research. He didn't just study cases in one country. He traveled the world. India, Burma, Turkey, Lebanon, West Africa, and everywhere he went, he found the same patterns. Regardless of religion, regardless of culture, the experiences were nearly identical. Scientific rigor. Despite studying a mystical subject, Dr. Stevenson never relied on blind belief. He approached every case with scientific discipline, alternative explanations, psychological factors, fraud detection. And yet, after decades of research, he found cases that were so strong, so unexplainable, that they defied logic. Could it be? Could reincarnation be real? This is the story of James Leininger, a young American boy with a mind-bending secret. A secret that shocked his family and challenged the very nature of reality. At just 2 years old, James began experiencing terrifying nightmares. He would wake up screaming, shouting phrases that chilled his parents to the core. Airplane crash on fire. Little man can't get out. Again, and again, and again. But then, something even stranger happened. James started speaking of another life. A life as a World War II pilot. A man named James Houston, Jr. And the details. They were shockingly accurate. At the name of the aircraft carrier, USS Natoma Bay. At the type of plane he flew, a Corsair. At the way he died, shot down by the Japanese. His parents were baffled. Where was he getting this information? James' father began investigating, and what he found left him shaken. Every detail, every single one, matched historical records. The USS Natoma Bay was real. James Houston, Jr. was real, and he had died exactly as James had described. But the most chilling part? James had mentioned Jack Larson, a fellow pilot. His father searched. And to his astonishment, Jack Larson was still alive. This case was unlike any other. James' statements were documented before anyone identified Houston. A clear timeline that made the case undeniable. He even acted out his memories, reenacting plane crashes, struggling as if he were trapped in a cockpit. His case, like many others, was eye-opening, but it also raised big questions. Could this be real? Or was there another explanation? Some stories defy explanation. Some memories shouldn't exist. But sometimes, they do. Some scientists believe these cases can be explained by psychological theories. Alternative explanations that challenge reincarnation. 1. Cryptomnesia, hidden memories. Could James have heard this information somewhere before, and forgotten the source? His mind may have absorbed the details from a book, a movie, or a conversation, then mistaken them for memories. But here's the problem. How could a 2-year-old child recall classified military details never mentioned in his home? 2. Confabulation, the brain filling in gaps. Could James' mind have created these memories, piecing together fragments of truth and fiction? The brain often fills in missing details, crafting a convincing but false reality. But again, James provided details before his parents did any research. So where did they come from? 3. Childhood fantasy and imagination. Piaget's theory. Between ages 2 and 7, children live in a world of magical thinking. Their imaginations are wildly active. Could James' story be just a child's mind at play? Maybe. But how does a toddler know the precise make and model of a World War II fighter plane? 4. Social and cultural influence. Could James have been influenced by his surroundings? Maybe he overheard conversations or watched a documentary. But James' family had no prior interest in World War II history. And in other cases, like those studied by Dr. Ian Stevenson, most children came from cultures that didn't even believe in reincarnation. 5. False memory syndrome. Could suggestion from parents, therapists, or the media have created these memories? It happens. People can recall entire life events that never actually occurred. But James' case? His memories came long before anyone suggested anything. 6. The unconscious mind, Freudian theory. Sigmund Freud believed that our unconscious mind stores repressed thoughts and emotions. Could James' memories be psychological echoes, fragments from dreams or past trauma? It's possible. But how does a 2-year-old dream about real war zones and fallen pilots, by name? The final mystery. Despite all these theories, one question remains. How do we explain birthmarks? Dr. Ian Stevenson discovered that many children who remember past lives have birthmarks matching fatal wounds from their previous existence. James Leininger had no visible birthmark, but many others do. So, what's the truth? Is reincarnation real? Or is there another answer we have yet to discover? Till this day, these cases remain a mystery. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Psyche Reveals. Join us as we dive deep into the mysteries of the mind and beyond. Let's explore the unknown together.